Hi guys, this is Circular Motion Part 2. Let's start our session with a question. What I have discussed in a previous topic. What I have discussed in a previous session, the equation of motion for a circular motion. This is what I have discussed. In this topic, let's see a question to have a better idea about this topic. Yes, a wheel is at rest. Its angular velocity increases uniformly with time and becomes 80 radian per second. After 5 seconds, the total angular displacement is what? This is what a question. Let's see what are the given values. Here they given that initially the angular velocity, the wheel is at rest. What's that? Wheel is at rest. Hence, the angular velocity, initial angular velocity must be 0. And it becomes 80 radian per second after 5 seconds. This was the question. What's the given in the question? What's that? Then the final velocity, final angular velocity is 80. And what's the initial time? That's 0. Final time is 5 seconds. And what's that asking the question? The total angular displacement is what? This is what the question. We already know that the angular acceleration is change in angular velocity with respect to time. Here what is the change in angular velocity? 80 minus 0 by 5. Then what's answer? Is 16. The 16 is an angular acceleration. That's all. Then we can use the equation of circular motion. What we can use in this case, we have initial angular velocity, final angular velocity, time, acceleration. Whatever we can use to get the angular displacement, either this or this. Can go with this. Simple. Final angular velocity square minus initial angular velocity square plus 2 into alpha into theta. So simple. We already know that. As a final, that's 80 square. T into 80. The initial, that's 0. Just the entire term becomes 0. Then what's here? 2 into, what's the alpha? That's 16. And this is an unknown value. Let's keep it at. Then we finally solve this. That 16 and this will be 5 and this will be the 40. What's the final answer? 200 radian per second. This is the final, radian, only radian, not second. This is the final answer. You got it right? Now we can get into the next topic. What's that? Centrifugal force. What's the centrifugal force? For a particle move in a circular motion, it must be acted upon a net force to the center if referred to be as centrifugal force that I already discussed to you. A simple common force formula according to the Newton's second law, force equal to mass into acceleration. This is centrifugal acceleration in the case of centrifugal force. Centrifugal acceleration. What is the centrifugal acceleration? That is omega square into r. It's an important formula. We already know that omega equal to, that's v equal to omega into r. Then omega equal to v by r. And apply this into this equation. What's we finally get? V square by r. This is the final thing. That's we get. Right? Then apply this both into this equation. Then force equal to m omega square r, force equal to m into v square by r. These are the two formulas for centripetal force. That's it. Let's get into the next topic. What is centrifugal force? From now we are discussing about the centripetal force. Now next topic is centrifugal force. What is centrifugal force? You know, many of you here, but in most of the cases you have a different idea. That everyone says that the centrifugal force is opposite to a centripetal force going to act. Sometimes, what's that? This is centripetal force. To the center, centripetal. The force which acts against this force is known as centripetal force, but it's not actually the statements that. What's that? A centrifugal. What is the centrifugal force? It is, and the actual meaning, this centrifugal force is an example of pseudo force. What's that? Pseudo force. Now, what is a pseudo force? Many have a confusion. Let's see what's a pseudo force. You must have the clear idea about the Newton laws of motion. Then only you can know the idea of pseudo force. Let's see what the pseudo force. Let's assume a car. Just assume this to be a car. A man is driving and moves with a constant velocity. Maybe the constant velocity or in uniform change in velocity. Let's see, that's moving with a car is moving with changing in velocity, uniform change in velocity. Suddenly it breaks. What's it breaks? Then it deaccelerates. That means the acceleration seems to be in this direction. Now, what happened to the man who's sitting inside the car? What's the motion of the man? He appears to be moved forward. Everyone knows that. When you're driving a car, you suddenly put on brake, you just move forward. What makes you to move forward? Everyone uses the simple word, that's the inertia. Now, what's the inertia? Inertia, a simple thing, the ability of object to resist change in motion. Something is to be the object to be changed in motion, but the man resisting to change its motion. That's called inertia. What makes him to resist change in motion? That is called pseudo force. You get it right? The inertia is ability of object to resist change in motion. So he is resisting to change his motion from this direction to this direction. That's why he moves forward. He has some inertia. What makes the inertia is a common phenomena, it's a phenomenon. So something be act on this to move forward. What's that? That is called pseudo force. That is called pseudo force. What is the pseudo force value? This is equal to mass of a man into acceleration of the system. Simple thing. System is this entire car. What's the acceleration going to act up in here? Be same to this acceleration. So this is a pseudo force. Pseudo force, when it happens pseudo force, there will be a two idea. When we are considering it to be a non-inertial frame, there may exist some pseudo force. Okay. Now it's we considered as an inertial frame, there may not exist any pseudo force. Okay, it's come some confusion. What's the inertial frame and what's a non-inertial frame? I'll give a better idea about it. What's inertial frame? When we considering a frame of reference, whatever the frame of reference, some things I'm just considering here, something is to be a road or a tree. I'm standing here and just seeing, and this to be an frame of reference. I am considering this point to be a frame of reference. Here, at this point, any force is going to be up. No, there may be a net force acting to be 0 at this point, and there may not exist any acceleration. And that frame is referred to be as inertial frame. When I am seeing here, I don't need to see this person. I simply see this system. I only see that this acceleration, only this backward acceleration only I see here when I am seeing. I don't want to see a person who is sitting inside. I just only see as a system. So that I not experience or see the pseudo force acting inside the person. Only I am going to see this, the force which is going to acting upon the system, not the force that act to be the person. Now I am taking a different frame of reference. Just think, the car is moving suddenly and brakes. Now I am taking a reference at this point. Suppose I am to be sitting inside the car, back side of the car. I am taking here as a reference. Now at this point you see that the force may be 0. Net force acting upon me, that the backward force and forward force may be 0, but the acceleration may not be 0. I am also experiencing some pseudo force, so I seems to be moving. So acceleration must not be 0. This is the case was non-inertial frame. When we considering a non-inertial frame, that we experience a pseudo force. So whenever the word arises the non-inertial frame, definitely it must have some pseudo forces. May or may have pseudo force, it may have. You got it right. Now you got the idea about the inertial frame, non-inertial frame and pseudo force. You got an exact idea about all these things. Let's get into now the topic centrifugal force. As centrifugal force is an example of pseudo force. When we're talking about a motion in a straight line, we can simply say the pseudo force. When we're moving in a circular motion, we call it as centrifugal force. Now we got an example of pseudo force. Suppose there is a turn. Just assume that there is a turn. The car is moving. I am sitting inside the car. Now the car moves in this direction. Now the force may be applied in this direction. But what's the motion of an person sitting inside? He moves towards this side. You got right? The car seems to move in this direction. But what's the motion of the person? Seems to be moving in this direction. That is called centrifugal force. Which makes to move in this direction, that is centrifugal force. Same as like that, what we call in the pseudo force, it's equal to an mass of an person into the acceleration of system. Same as like that here also the centrifugal force is mass of an person into centrifugal acceleration. Same as like both centrifugal acceleration are same. What's the difference? The mass is only the different thing. Okay, don't confuse the term that centrifugal force is an opposite to an centrifugal force. It's actually a pseudo force. Okay, that's it. We completed what's the centrifugal force. That's all. Now we can go into the next topic, that is non-uniform circular motion. And this is part 2. I am going to bind up with this, the non-uniform circular motion. And in third part I am going with vertical circular motion. That's most important. Okay. Now in this non-uniform circular motion, I could differentiate what's the uniform circular motion and non-uniform circular motion. So you may get a better view in this concept. Now what we are going to see? Non-uniform circular motion. That's what we are going to see here. Very easy. Here in non-uniform circular motion, what we see in a uniform circular motion? It may act some centripetal acceleration towards the center, and it may exist some velocity, constant velocity. This is a case of uniform circular motion. Now what's the difference in non-uniform circular motion? Only thing, that do not exist uniform velocity. There was always change in the velocity at each point. That's what different. There may be a different velocity. The velocity keep on changing. In that case, in uniform circular motion, there has some uniform velocity, uniform speed, not the velocity. Sorry, I totally confused you. That's uniform speed. It's that uniform speed, because I'm just only saying the magnitude. There exists a uniform speed, but in non-uniform circular motion, there do not exist any uniform speed. There will always change in speed. That's v1, v2, v3, v4. But what we seen in uniform circular motion, there always exists some constant speed. That's what we seen in that cases. We exist some constant speed here. But in the case of non-uniform circular motion, there existing the change in speed. So what happens to the parameter? Let's see. What's happened to the parameter? So the speed is of not constant, hence the scalar quantity never become constant, hence it changes. And velocity, it's a vector quantity. Here both magnitude and direction are changing, so definitely the velocity also going to be not be a constant one. It often changes. And acceleration is also a vector quantity that also keep on changes. And momentum also changes. Kinetic energy also changes. That's what different. Only different thing here, that the speed do not remains constant. It's also different from uniform and non-uniform circular motion. The speed does not remains constant. That's it. Now I'm just differentiating. This is the case of non-uniform circular motion. In the uniform circular motion, the speed remains to be a constant one. Then what happens? The velocity not remains constant, because magnitude is the magnitude do not change. The direction may be changes, so the velocity does not change. The acceleration is also vector quantity and does not change. Momentum is also vector quantity, does not change. Kinetic energy is a scalar quantity and just remains constant. This is the case of uniform circular motion. There's a difference between that. But what happens to the parameters? We already discussed now. That in this case, we already know that the common, I'm just revising the formula. What's that? Velocity equal to omega into r, and acceleration equal to alpha into r. In the case of uniform circular motion, we already knows that angular acceleration remains 0 because the velocity remains constant. So omega remains constant. Then change in omega is known as angular acceleration. So it becomes 0 in the case of uniform circular motion. When this becomes 0, then tangential acceleration is also becomes then 0. Now what's a tangential acceleration? Tangential acceleration is nothing but this is the tangential acceleration. here exists some tangential acceleration. In case of uniform circular motion, there do not exist any tangential acceleration. Okay, the reason I already discussed. But in case of non-uniform circular motion, the v do not remains constant. Hence, the omega must be changing. Then change in omega is referred to be as an angular acceleration. It also has the angular acceleration must it has. Okay. When it has angular acceleration already in this formula there exists some tangential acceleration. We got a final result that in non-uniform circular motion it definitely exists some tangential acceleration. What's that? Tangential acceleration it exists. There exists some tangential acceleration. But it do not in the uniform circular motion we never find this tangent acceleration. Don't confuse the term with tangential acceleration and centrifugal acceleration. Tangential acceleration is acting upon the direction of an velocity. It's acting upon a direction of an velocity. But centrifugal acceleration is an acceleration which acts towards the center. Okay, that's it. Now we have a better view on this. Definitely you have some better view. Okay, let's revise some final formulas. I am going to give some final formula. These are most important. I am just only revising it. Formulas are revising. You already know that. What is the omega? This is change in angular displacement with respect to time. What is the angular acceleration? This is change in omega with respect to time. And v equal to omega into r. You never forget these formulas because these formulas are very important. And so what is the acceleration is equal to alpha into r. Very important formula. These four formulas you never forget in your life. Okay, if you know these formulas, rotational dynamics become very easy because problems are often asking. Let's ask one question. Okay, we can end up this session with a question. This is what the question. What's it? Let AR, so AR simply as centrifugal acceleration and tangential acceleration represents the radial and tangential acceleration. The motion of the particle may be in a circular if, in which cases it may be. I am just giving you a case. What's the case? First case, can choose a one. Centrifugal acceleration equal to 0, AT equal to 0. B option I give. C option, centrifugal acceleration not be equal to 0 and tangent acceleration is 0. Turn on off this. What's the option? In on all these four cases, in which case it seems to be in a circular motion. These four cases, in which case it seems to be in a circular motion. Let's check it out. In first case, then centrifugal acceleration 0 and tangent acceleration 0, it never exists circular motion because there is no center towards pulling force. Center pulling force. So when centrifugal acceleration 0, then centrifugal force also 0. Then nothing to be pulled the object towards the center. So it do not exist some uniform circular motion. In the second case, let's see. The centrifugal acceleration 0. Whenever the centrifugal acceleration 0, then never exists any circular motion because nothing is pulling the object towards the center. In the third case, let's see, the centrifugal acceleration may not be 0 and the tangent acceleration may be 0. This is the case of uniform circular motion. You got right? This is the case of uniform circular motion. The centrifugal acceleration never finds 0, but tangent acceleration we find 0. So this is the right answer. That's it. Bye guys. Let's see in the next session. That's very interesting. That's a vertical circular motion.